And most importantly, the private label line is not a brand. Like it is built to source the finest materials, the finest fabrics and silhouettes for your brand. So if you're just getting started, you're just kicking off your tour, you're an artist, you're just getting into merch, or you're a brand, the private label is an incredible way to kind of look at, this is what a collection should look like. We live below the fold. We live underneath those incredible brands.
What is the vision? Right? So like there's a story, but then it's like, where are you trying to go? If it's compelling enough, then you start to get people to believe in it.
All right, another year in the books here. We're kicking off 2025 a little late. We're halfway through, not halfway through.
We're through January.
We're all the way through January.
2 days left and we're into February.
Wow.
Right?
Well, I guess we're kicking off 2025 a little bit late here, but what's most important to us is that first and foremost, we're focused on operations. Operations for us keeps the machines turning, keeps the teams running. That's the focus. And then we bring on some new talent, and we try to get some content.
Yeah, we could do some of the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Get away from the day-to-day, the crazy activities that we're in, and film some content. So it's good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Feels good.
So we're kicking off 2025 with a new team member coming on board with us. His name is Sal. You're going to hear he's going to be working with us, and even better, Michelle has not gone anywhere. She's going to be stepping up more into a directive role so that we can actually have something halfway decent to talk about.
Right. Need some support there for sure. But it's all about the talent behind the scenes, behind the screens. So it's exciting to be growing the team.
Yeah, totally. So we're breaking up our content for the year kind of in two different bins, I guess you say. We'll be hosting a segment called The Brand Behind the Brand. Sal's going to be working with some of the team members like Tyler, Joey, if we can yank him some way, somehow out, Nick, and we're going to be looking at the factories. We're going to be looking at, obviously, product reviews, product launches, and then, of course, we will stick to our normal schedule program where we're going to try and do this on at least on a bi-weekly basis, and just try to bring in unique ideas, try to inspire people to build a brand of their own, become an artist, focus on merch, and hopefully we offer some good advice, good tricks,
some value. Yeah, cool. No, it's exciting. It's all about being able to pick and choose the right content that matters for everybody in the audience. So excited to try different formats and then hold ourselves accountable to stay on a schedule and be a little more consistent with it. But yeah, new year, new strategy, new form. It'll be good.
Awesome. Well, Michelle has set us up very nicely with an incredible topic for today. We're going to be talking about private label. You and I spent most of January not here in Chicago, which is definitely a blessing for anyone who is a resident Chicago person. It is horrible here right around January time. So, we were in Vegas, we were on the West Coast, we were in LA pretty much the entire month, and we're pitching private label. Carla, you want to walk through what that concept is, and then I can nerd out on how the styles are combined, the difference between kind of our core styles and then going custom. But why don't you give a high level, like what is this private label program that we're building?
For sure, yeah. I'll let you nerd out about all the ins and outs of the different silhouettes and the different fabrics and everything, but yeah, we call it, Rich and I kind of go on tour, if you will, the first couple months of the year. And we're just out there in different shows and different trade shows, meeting with clients. And, we always talk about being busy and busier. The sales team and business development, of course, in the summertime, when we're at live events and music's happening, we're extremely busy. But when it's the off season, we're even busier out there trying to drive new opportunity, pitch these type of products. And so it really is busy and busier. So being away, like Rich said, being away from Chicago is a great time, in January because it's so cold. I think last week or 2 weeks ago was what?
-7.
Yeah, -7, and the wind chill was like 20 below.
Yeah,
so
no thank you.
Always good to be on the West Coast, but Yeah, private label, I think it's definitely something we want to continue to drive as part of our ethos and keep talking about this as a technique and a brand, especially in this show. So there's like, I guess you can say there's the silhouettes that we all can get our hands on, right? There's the blanks, and we all know there's, I don't know, thousands and thousands.
C's.
Yeah, there are so many different SKUs and different brands.
And so many incredible brands. So yeah, many of them, we're going to continue to have them on, whether that's the creator or the person kind of at the helm, the head salesperson, the head designer. We're going to continue to bring those brands on and continue to, engulf our audience into, what are the options?
Exactly.
What is out there? What is readily available? What can we get fast? Where does it come from? What are the styles? And we'll continue that education.
Right. I mean, it's so hard to reinvent the wheel when there are so many products out there, and we wouldn't want to reinvent the wheel. Like, there are so many brands that are doing the same thing. They're in the lab testing different fabrics, launching different products. So there are so many. So there's that. There's a big portion of all of our business is the blanks, and we can get our hands on that stuff pretty quick when you're getting it either through a distributor or getting it through the brand directly, and that's a majority of our business, right, that we're producing on. But what we're trying to step into here when you talk about the private label is when you want to take it outside of the brands we already have. So think if you're a clothing brand, we work with a lot of clothing brands. The first one that comes to mind is one that we work with out of Detroit. And they've kind of outgrown some of the brands and silhouettes that they can get every single day. And they start to understand their audience and what their audience wants to wear. Maybe it's something a little heavier. Maybe it's a thicker neck. Maybe it's specific colors that they want. So that's when you start to get into the private label stuff, where you start to really customize something that is one of one, really, right? That we step into something that is completely custom to a brand. So that's really what I would say private label is stepping away from the things that we can get every single day to stepping into the custom side of stuff.
Yeah, so the way that we're going to, kind of build the framework here is we're starting with, these are core styles. Very often we're working with mills that are domestically. We want to be able to quickly turn, and some are imports. We work across the gamut, but on the core styles, we're taking an inventory position and putting them on the floor. Yeah. So the core style bin that we're going to talk about here is we're giving it a style number of our own. These products are sitting on the floor, Chicago and Daytona, as well as in our LA facility. So having those readily available, being able to pull quickly from these core styles and turn and burn. That's our go-to. What is our strong suit?
Yeah, that's
hit it hard.
Hit it hard. Yeah, we'll make it happen. So turn and burn is always the differentiator, but having inventory of these styles is really nice too, and we're trying to replenish and restock pretty quickly.
And on the second part of the private label, we'll call it framework or system, is the custom side. Mm-hmm. We see that so often when we say custom, we open up 1,000,000,001 variables. What is the weight? What is the fabric type? What are the zippers? What are the finishes? Where does it go? On and on and on. And so we're trying to bring some level of, let's dial these styles in, let's give them a SKU. And if we have to then veer off ever so slightly, get a different button or a different thread or a different, slightly different weight, we can go down that route. But let's at least get something in the wheelhouse. Nick and the team are constantly making these products, so we know that they're great. They wash well. They're perfectly executed. Of course, custom has a little more time associated with it, but we're putting it in the custom bin, yet it is a style that we're constantly ordering.
Yeah, I'll actually give it to Nick and his team. You do usually have a little more time on the custom stuff, but just because of the nature of the industry that we're in, the category that we're in, I'll give it to them. They're actually moving this stuff pretty quick too. They're creating custom products really fast. I've seen them do some custom dyes and washes in under a week.
Yeah.
Depending on what the artist needs. So we're definitely bringing some speed to a classic type of approach.
Yeah, and on many of the styles, you're trying to dial in the process. Sometimes when it's just so wide open, it's like, oh yeah, well, let's do anything. We do custom anything. We can make a snowboard. We can make this. Sure, but we at least want to have a catalog, a SKU that we're going to look at and pick from and be dialed in to the best of our ability. And so many of those dyes and washes the core is sitting in PFD, and we can pull that PFD, dye and wash here in Ohio, really close, or in LA, pending the final destination, and it is a pretty quick turnaround. So another big move by Nick and his team.
Yep, for sure. I think having structure behind it's really going to help. Although you can do the bells and whistles and keep adding all the features onto something, but having this core structure is going to help when we start developing.
So for somebody just starting out, let's not talk about somebody that has been doing this for their whole career. What's your suggestion if they're going to start a brand, they're going to start building a collection? How do they utilize the private label line, or like what would be like your start to finish kind of workflow?
Yeah, I think it's all about really understanding their demographic and their audience, but when they're working with the private label, understanding the silhouette they want to go with. And I know you're going to talk about some of the products that we have, but whether it's a t-shirt or a heavyweight hoodie, or we get into bombers and track jackets and jean jackets and all things of that nature, it's really understanding kind of what your end goal is, and then kind of working backwards. I think if you give everyone the plethora of things that you can get, you start to get a little too far away from what you can create. So really dialing in what your needs are, I think starts off with that. The first steps.
Yeah. Yeah, the catalog that we built is on our website. If you go to resources and you can drop down, you can see the private label catalog. It's got all the basics, of course, a bomber, a denim jacket, heavyweight, a pocketless. Many of these products that we've launched along the way, you can find them in our catalog really simply. Of course, heavyweight tee, mineral wash,
the merch bag you can get up there.
A merch bag,
yeah,
of course. Yep,
that's a great piece. Everyone loves the merch bag.
Yeah, and what we're trying to do is try to be highly thoughtful. Like in the case of the merch bag, actually that was one of the first pieces of content that Sal worked on with us. This is a design that we spent an enormous amount of time on, meticulously developing the pockets and the materials. And, every time we develop a product like that, we really spend time on the design and the technique that's going to be applied to that product. It hits,
Always.
And if you have a schedule that you have to hit and you just have to throw something out there, that end result is always the same. And most importantly, the private label line is not a brand. It is built to source the finest materials, the finest fabrics and silhouettes for your brand. So if you're just getting started, you're just kicking off your tour, you're an artist, you're just getting into merch, or you're a brand, the private label is an incredible way to kind of look at, this is what a collection should look like, and this is how to do it, at least routinely. These are products that we know hit. They're all well done, modern silhouette, soft, good fabric. Great place to start.
Very high quality. Yeah, I think that's what the definition of private label is, right? It's like a garment that you can take that we've created, put your own label inside of it. So there's all of relabeling services, whether that's a printed inside tag or whether we're actually doing woven labels inside of it. I know Nick's doing a ton of those right now, where we're putting the care instructions or logos inside of the inside tag. So that really is the definition of private label. Is taking something and making it your own with all the little bells and whistles and the finishings behind it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's private label 2025.
That's it.
Ready to kick off another big year.
Kicking it off.
Lots of content from us. Please tune in. We're going to put this across all the channels. We're going to have the 2 different segments. We'll do this one in the studio in Chicago, and then the brand behind the brand episodes are going to be all over the factories. Lots of product launches. We're going to launch a private label product at least on a monthly collection. Michelle's going to hold us all accountable here.
Hold ourselves to it, for sure.
That's it.